Hey, Night Nation, Marc Daniels here. We get a chance today to look back on one of the great football games in UCF history. There's not a Knight fan that will not remember the special Black Friday game in 2017, UCF against South Florida. A lot going on in that day. Of course, the Knights came in ranked 11th in the country, 10-0, 7-0 in the conference. South Florida is 9-1 overall, 6-1 in league play. We know what's at stake: the East Division Championship and a spot in the conference title game a week later. Let's check out the highlights and look back. An incredible atmosphere that day at the stadium for UCF in South Florida. The stadium was, of course, jam-packed. You had so much going on as far as Knight fans. You had a massive crowd that was there, the atmosphere electric, and then that nationally televised audience. Little did they know the incredible game that they were going to get. Here's the kickoff, and return for South Florida. They got the ball first in a high-powered offense with Quentin Flowers and those guys coming in. You knew that the defense had to be ready for a big matchup that day, and two offenses that had success moving the football that day. Flowers had a great game, obviously. Knight fans so good at throwing the football. He ended up throwing for over 500 yards in that football game, and the question was, could UCF's defense kind of get to him and put some pressure? And he was hot from the start, and there's no question about that. And look, they had a lot of playmakers on their side. So the UCF defense is challenged early in that football game, but Flowers did so many things that certainly were special as they start that first drive and ran the football, and there's Shaquem in there, part of that Knight defense that came out fired up. There was a typical trash talking before the game between both sides. Fans certainly on social media had built this game up. But the best thing about it, if you go back and remember, I mean, it lived up to the hype. I mean, both these teams had played great to get here to this football game, and the American needed this. And I thought the league really benefited by the attention, the time slot this game had on that Black Friday. And, both teams came in with great records. And you watch the protection. He finds an open man, and this is their opening drive. And you get the football. There's Shaquem making another stop again for UCF. So they're out and going offensively to start the football game. And Flowers, of course, showing what he can do with his arms and his legs, and a lot of protection there. Looked like maybe a hold or two, but that's just a biased opinion on my part. So they're on the Knight side of the field on this opening drive, and out pass there, and missed tackle, and down the sideline, a big play. So they scored that opening drive. That was a big-time play right there for South Florida. Got in the end zone for that touchdown. Tyree McCants, a 47-yarder right there, and boom, just like that, they got a score to start the football game. So big play there. Their crowd was fired up and making some noise. And back and take a look. And this is, they throw the nice screen here. And then they break past the would-be tackle there. Sean Burkett can't make the tackle. And then McCants just dragging people into the end zone there for a touchdown. He's big dude. He had a big football game that day. 9 catches for 227 yards. That was the first of a lot of catches we would see in the day with him. So we're down. I mean, we're down, 7-0 after the second point to start the football game. And here's that crowd jacked up to get the game going. And boom, just like that, we're trailing 7-0. So how is UCF going to answer? And, that was something that we would learn real quickly. So they lead 7-0, and they got the buzz. Of course, again, the winner, conference championship game to take on Memphis. So here's our crowd. And we know it's at stake, an undefeated season, and down 7-0. And one of the things I remember, so many playmakers. That's why I thought it was such a big showcase game for the American, because as the nation began to watch this football game, people saw, hey, these aren't two mid-level teams. Here's Mike Hughes, and note, he does get a return here for a kicker that was pretty good at putting the ball out of the end zone. And, Mike gets a nice return out across the 30-yard line. But there was respected talent. We go back and take a look at the quality of players on both sides of the ball here in this game. It showed you just how good they were. But Mike gets a nice return. There's a flag down on that return. So we're down 7-0. Now McKenzie in the offense is going to take the field. But I remember going back after the game and just thumbing through social media and on Twitter. And as the game progressed, just seeing both national college football media, we know that there were people from the entertainment world that were all just gushing over the game. I mean, we know it's a great football game, but I think people appreciate a big play after big play, and the players that you said had to have a big game were having big games, and it's rare that you get a game that kind of lives up to the hype. But there's KZ in the offense. They go to work. It's our first drive after the flag on South Florida. We get the ball out near midfield and go to work. There you go, out to 8K, and there's a quick gain for UCF on that play, and got the football their side of the field. Just take a look at the numbers, you know. That's how good McKenzie was that season. Just incredible. The completion percentage and all that stuff. And, you know, through the air, on the ground for UCF. And Knights kind of getting things going. There's a short run by Killens for UCF. And this is his first drive for UCF with the ability of being able to try to answer. South Florida scores really quickly there. And, you know, they got a little mojo going right now. So how's UCF going to answer? So we got a 3rd and short situation at their 43, and short run and a first down for UCF was Adrian Killens gets that and kind of gives the Knights a good spot there before a fresh set of downs. You saw the numbers, averaging almost 50 points a game for UCF. The offense was just on a roll coming into that, and here's a big play. Look at that, 30, 25, and there goes Killens inside the 20-yard line. Great blocking for UCF, and one of the trademarks of this Knight offense, really not just in 17 but 18, 19, it's the blocking of wide receivers. It's picking up the blitz buybacks. It's offensive linemen that know the play, that do their part to open up holes. And there goes McKenzie. Ooh, just missing Gabriel Davis, a young pup in Gabriel Davis. He had 2 catches that day for UCF, but part of an incredible receiving corps for the Knights. And we know, of course, about the many big catches for Gabe. But you know, you go back and you take a look. He was learning under Traquan Smith and Frederick Snelson there, and just the talent that UCF had. So now here's KZ, red zone for UCF. 3 wide on the left side, and we'll run right there and put us in a 3rd down situation for the start of this football game. And you know, the thing that all of us remember, you go back, that offense just at times scored at will, and of course at that moment you don't know how that game's going to go and all the big plays. But typically what UCF was so good at was that first drive, being able to get down the field and score, to get a lead on somebody, in this case trying to get a tying touchdown. So it's 17. Dumps it off for Killens out of the backfield. And he gets shut down by, and it's a big flag right there, because South Florida thinks they got to stop. And instead of a situation where UCF's looking at a field goal, they know that becomes a big play. They got a personal foul in that spot, and Khalid McGee is guilty of that, and going to put his first and goal. And, you know, UCF was so good inside the red zone that year, just the execution. McKenzie's just saw the field so well, and then there's the extra shove that leads to the flag right there. I mean, they defended it well, but the penalty came into play. And flags were, I mean, they had 10 flags South Florida in that football game. A couple of them really hurt them. Little run right there, so it puts us down at the 3-yard line. And setting UCF up here. McKenzie, of course, had a great day, 56-yard rushing on the day, and of course had great success throwing. There you see, look at the red zone touchdowns. There's KZ. Look at him, touchdown. So that was big. You know, UCF answers at South Florida drive. Crowd gets back into it, and we march down. We go 9 plays, 68 yards, and you know, now you got a 7-7 football game. And it was important that, you know, UCF kind of answer right back and get the crowd involved. Costly penalty extended the drive right there. Knight fans fired up, obviously, and the stage is set for a whole bunch of points to be scored. But touchdown, and we took 2:36 off the clock. And Matthew Wright, extra point. As I was going back looking at this, the game had 33 total drives, okay? South Florida had 16, we had 17. So 33 total drives. The longest drive of the game is 4 minutes and 31 seconds. Okay, UCF had 17 drives, right? 17 drives. 15 of the 17 UCF drives are 2 minutes and 55 seconds or less. Okay, again, the longest drive was 4:31, and 15 of our 17 drives were 2:55 or less. That's insane when you look at the way the offense moved, and that was the case throughout the season. I mean, rarely did we have drives that took longer than 3 or 4 minutes. And obviously, the bounce house bouncing. Kickoff by Matthew Wright, and they're going to drop the ball here. Where they put the football back out. So we got a 7-7 score, and I'm going to show you the touchdown again here. We load one side, and watch what happens. They put the spotlight on AK, and look at that. Ain't going to get him on the outside there. Great play, great touchdown. So even the score up, and their offense goes back on field. That lone loss, by the way, for South Florida, they're 9-1 coming in. They got beat on a basically one play against Houston and lost 28-24. That year they beat Illinois easily, 47-23. And they had it going coming in here. That lone loss to Houston, otherwise would have been a matchup of two undefeated teams. And throughout the year, they put up good numbers. We averaged 48 points a game. They averaged 38 points a game. So these were two great offenses. We got caught going offside, so they opted to kick the football off. I mentioned South Florida had 10 penalties in that game. We had 6 for 38 in that contest. There were still 11 punts in this game. I talked about the drives, 33 drives, 16 for South Florida, 17 for us. There were still 11 punts. So, again, it shows you how fast drives were, because you just start taking a look at that, and you're like, oh, wow, a bunch of scoring, and obviously a whole bunch of big plays. So we kick off again. And we got a better spot for return, but boy, that's a nice tackle right there. Richie Grant ends up keeping Barr. A baby back then in Richie Grant. Take a look at the guys in that defense. Just a little tot, about to become a all-conference player and one of the better cover guys in the country. So each team scored, and they get the ball for a second drive, and the Flowers comes out, and the key was, could you keep him in the pocket, because Quentin was so good at stepping away and kind of moving the pocket left and moving the pocket right. And you watch, he's going to run there, and you can't let him kind of dictate, and there are moments that he did. Tony Garrard there with the tackle, and they try to kind of establish where's the ball with Flowers, option of him to the run, the RPOs, and he was a run threat in that football game. No question about it. Obviously passing, we know what he did, and going deep downfield, and with a big catch. That's a big play downfield. Tight end Delney caught a 37-yarder. And did a good job picking up protection and the ball downfield. So there they are inside of 40 again. That RPO and went up the middle. That team, think about South Florida. Big receivers. McCants was big and tough. Had a couple of tight ends that were big, tough guys, 6'3", 6'4", and did a good job throughout the year, not just in that football game. They're at our 36 here. And run the football, and Unvergett in there for a group of Knights and Shaquem and Christian Hill. That group kind of clogging up the middle, puts them in a third down situation. And defense now with third down opportunity here. Crowd involved as it was start to finish. That place was just electric. People did shopping earlier, got there, made noise during the day. Ran it on all came out, man. This is an interesting call now. So they're just outside our 30. It's fourth down about a yard and a half. And Brigette makes a tackle. Now, you know, what are they going to do? They leave their offense on the field. You know, fourth and about a yard and a half. 7-7 game. And just over 9 to go in the first quarter. And here's a big early moment. They line up here. Are they going to go for it? On a fourth down. Well, get a little timeout. So the game at chess begins. Their first 30 seconds. Ends in a 7-7 football game. So they're going to talk about what they want to do on fourth down. And I don't think anybody thought they were going to pull the offense off the field. So here's fourth down. Here's a little tip for you. Keep an eye on 56 for UCF defensively here. So here's a fourth down and about a yard and a half. Watch Jasinski.
It's Johnson.
Big time stop. Big time stop on fourth down. And a great play by Pat. And the momentum bounce to our side right there. It's a big time stop by Pat Jasinski right there.
Taking his game to the next level this season. The night defense needed him to.
So,
he's done that.
Awesome stop by Pat. Watch, comes up. That's just man on man, and it makes a great tackle there. They ran to the right side, smart play, but he stopped a good half-yard shy. So that's a big play. So still tied at 7. Fourth down stop. Flips the field as far as possession force now at about the 30-yard line. So big stop there. And, yeah, there is before the game, man. People were lined up. Now, I remember driving onto campus that day. And our pregame started at like 1:30. I probably got on campus like 10. And I remember it was a buzz. People went, okay, Black Friday with fans tailgate. Man, it was just an incredible atmosphere. So there goes our drive. The second time. That KZ just marches down the field before for a score. Not a bad day for him. He ended up going 20 out of 44 for 370, 3 and 4 touchdowns. And there you go, Jordan Akins. Boy, Jordan was so good. Night fans remember the former minor league baseball player, you know, came to UCF, and could he find a role? And boy, he grew into being a football body and did a really great job in 2017. Great blocker. Nice pass catch there, and back to work quickly. Good protection. Got to run, though. Look at that. Out arena type, picking up the first down for McKenzie. Flushed out. But the great thing about that, you watch the patience, though. Don't give up on the play. He's still looking downfield. You know, by now he's cut it outside there, but before he still kept looking downfield, and I may have questioned the spot on that. So, but again, that's what makes McKenzie so good. And great quarterbacks. Okay, you know your legs are going to make a play for you, but just keep that play alive. So they found the spot back where he stepped out of bounds, which is our 46, and go to work. Otis. First down. Also, Baby back then, we're number 26. But remember, that was a freshman, Traquan Smith, part of the block outside there, and that's the confidence that they had in Otis. He was so involved, you know, as a freshman. There you got AK. Otis is out as a receiver, makes a catch. It's great blocking by Traquan, and ball to South Florida 42-yard line.
Veteran presence in that wide receiver room with a lot of young guys. They've all followed suit.
And a little fling in traffic. Here goes AK. He gets some yards there.
They have a mantra in the wide receiver room. No block, no rock. When you don't have the football,
about midway in the first quarter right now, still a 7-7 game. Traquan, again, you take a look at the body of work, man. A couple of years for that guy. And now it just has turned into a really promising, talented wide receiver for the Saints. So option here. Yep. Yeah, 2 quarterbacks in this game that really were weapons using their legs, and you know, McKenzie's so good you know, being able to create plays right there for UCF.
It's been with all the high-level teams, UConn and fourth-ranked Michigan State in the semifinals.
They work offensively, just outside the 30.
And the ESPN app. It's been one heck of a great tournament out in Portland at the Moda Center.
You see the rhythm, you know, UCF from an offensive standpoint. Boom, 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 downfield, just a little bit overthrown. Put this in a second down situation.
Today, right here on ABC, Pittsburgh with the huge upset of second-ranked Miami, first loss of the year.
Again, yeah, that was a game early in the day, Pitt-Miami. That set us up for that perfect 3:30 slot in the afternoon.
On ABC against Clemson.
So empty backfield here now. Steps up.
Thrown behind Akins.
A bit behind Jordan Akins. Right there.
With the Miami loss, these are the
yep. Remember that? The battle? How many undefeated teams left? Notice something about the left side about college football rank?
They should be much higher than 15, not getting
anyway, 3rd and 10.
From the college ball playoff committee.
There you go. Look at Otis. Get outside.
And he's got a first down into the
and that's blocking on the outside. It sets it up as straight point again as Otis gets outside and runs for 15 right there. But you take a look, I mean, just at the distance he gets getting outside. So good again, a true freshman at the time, just making big play after big play, and the offense set to go just outside the 15. And incomplete pass there to Jordan Akins. Again, the weapons McKenzie to work with.
A little bit of pressure in his face. He drops down to 3/4.
Which, you know, you take a look at the run that we've had down these 3 years, and it's there. Boy, the rush, step out, buy some time. Who you got? Frederick Snelson, touchdown. Great job. McKenzie sees the field, knows he's got somebody open. Snelson sneaks behind the defensive back, waits patiently. McKenzie makes a great throw. Got to put over a couple of defenders, and caps off a great drive. We go 10 plays, 70 yards, and 255 there. So the 4th down stop by Jasinski. Remember, they're outside our 30 and right down the field. And just a beautiful play as McKenzie buys time, rolling out right, and finds Snelson back of the end zone. Matthew Wright for an extra point right here. It's a 14-7 lead for UCF. So, again, 2 drives, 2 scores. And, you know, KZ doing what KZ does so well there. But that's a play takes a lot of work by team. And, you know, he avoids, gets outside, downfield, guys get open, stops, makes the throw. Snelson gets behind the linebacker there and makes a catch. And McKenzie took a hit, but he gets the last lap on that drive with a touchdown. So it's 14-7 UCF. And at that point, you know, you're just over midway in the first quarter. And your offense feels pretty good. You move the ball, and nothing like having the front of the UCF sideline and the bounce house. So nothing wrong with that. So now the kickoff by Matthew Wright.
Leading offense in the nation.
One of the great kickers in UCF history, an all-time leader. And
Chris Barr has some space.
Suit.
He'll get shut down shy of the 25.
Coverage. So it's 14-7.
Seems like some energy.
And their offense takes over.
UCF
and,
Adam.
you know, one of the things in that, you know, people, I mean, we get complicated at stats sometimes. And
now it's time for today.
You know, people look at, you know, points allowed, yards, and things like that. And I think a UCF fan has learned, particularly in this 3-year run from an offensive standpoint, really 4 years when you're back of the transition to Coach Frost and now Coach Heupel. South Florida takes over. If you just look at a stat sheet after the game, and, you know, you look at numbers and yards, you know, points and yards allowed, sometimes it is deceiving. I mean, you watch and Flowers throws downfield and big catch.
The second huge play for Tyree
McCants, I'm telling you, what's the problem? All football game. That's a 55-yard pass play right there. But to finish my point, I mean, you watch this game, 2 series, 2 quick touchdowns from UCF. And you've watched their offense under Coach Hype for the last couple of years. And with Dillon as a freshman quarterback and playing so well last year, the offense is going to score quick. Your defense is going to be on the field more. I mean, when your offense scores
A nice pass from Quentin Flowers.
sometimes in 90 seconds and 2 minutes, I mean, your defense is going to be on the field longer. And, you know, as long as you get a few stops and your offense keeps on scoring, you're going to win a lot of football games. And I think, and now this game's unique just the way it went, but sometimes people say, well, you gave up X amount of points and yards. And you're like, yeah, but 70% of the yards and points we gave up came after we led by 5 or 6 touchdowns. And, yeah, you want to stop everybody every time, but I think sometimes people got caught up in that. It's good pressure, good coverage downfield, really, that leads to Flowers throwing the ball away, and obviously there's Shaquem with the coverage. But I think sometimes people might need to realize that. You go, well, you know, the team gave up 30 points. Yeah, they gave up like 10 for the first 3 quarters, and, you know, then gave up some points afterwards. Especially, I mean, any night fan. I mean, last year at home, were we up by like 30 points on average at the half and stuff. So they got second down and 12. I'm sorry, third down and 12. And watch Titus Davis here. Gonna get some good pressure late in this play. And there he is, blind side, flushed out, throws the football downfield. But again, that's great pressure up front by Titus coming off the edge right there. That puts them in a field goal situation. And they went for it on 4th and about 1.5 yards, like used coverage downfield. Now they're in a 4th down situation, more of a field goal spot here. They're going to try to get 3.
As a spy on Quentin Flowers, they talked about they've got to keep him caged up. He got outside the pocket.
It's Mike Hughes, just a tremendous season for them. Edelman, obviously, you can see right there, he had a great year coming in. I mean, he 20 of 23, but I think this one's going to go.
First time he has missed since the Tulane game.
Wide right. Somebody else is used to. But anyway, that made it the missed field goal. So it's 14-7. And, you know, Night Nation pumped up for a stop. So now you take a look. Last 2 drives, they stopped on 4th and 1. And the missed field goal there, they drove into UCF territory. They've been there all 3 times with a touchdown first drive. But those are big game changers right there with the stops. And, you know, now football back to UCF. Look at that group of just black in the stands right there. So now another drive for UCF that comes after that miss by South Florida. And the offense goes to work. So far we got 2 drives, 2 touchdowns for UCF. And here comes the 3rd drive of the game. It starts at around 24. With a couple of backs, and AK goes out in motion. And we give it Otis, who spin inside traffic right there. But again, I mean, you just look the depth at running back we've had. We've been so blessed. There's so much talent at running back, you know, again, and certainly for the team coming back. Now go empty, and McKenzie's so dangerous here because he sees the field so well. He's got options. They can, you know, show blitz. He knows that they can't pick up everybody, and boom, there you go. Perfect spot. Great throw. Gable Davis makes a catch. It's a great route that's run right there, and that's why, you know, McKenzie just unbelievable in seeing the field in a situation like that. Got 5, you can't cover, and then the offense goes to work quickly because you don't want to give a chance to sub a nice block up the middle. And, you know, 5 yards here, 5, it keeps the defense honest in situations like that. So you get the catch by Gabe, you get short one right there, and the offense is right there by midfield, trying to build in a 14-0 lead. And again, look at the touch, works, puts us in a situation coming up here. But that's that. I mean, that's that rhythm, you know. There's Adam Amin. He's going to join us for the second half today. Adam did a great job calling the game and got to know over the years. He's just a great guy. So we got a 3rd and short.
The one thing that I've been surprised, USF has not been able to run the football whatsoever.
Again, a big key was converting 3rd down throughout the entire year for UCF. And pull him out. You cover, I'm going to find an open guy. Kulibiali's going to sneak. Because, again, they got to make a decision. Are they going to come up and play the run and get McKenzie. He knows it. And again, great players know the situation. They're going to come up and get him and freeze open Koulibaly. And you tack on the penalty. So, double whammy on their defense right there. But, could he get the necessary yards outside? Well, he could, maybe, but, Koulibaly's right there. A little fling. Come on. How many guys can make that? And Koulibaly in his 15th year at UCF, pun intended right there. So here's the offense with about 2.5 to go in the first quarter. And again, 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. We're at their 15. And here's McKenzie. Fakes it, pitches, boom, end zone touchdown. Again, they got to decide who to cover. And the great job by Killens is you stay in the play. McKenzie could keep it, but you leave yourself as an option right there, which works perfectly because the defense has to decide. They think, hey, he's crossed the line, he's going, and Killens doesn't give up the play. He stays as an option for McKenzie if they do exactly what they did. They close on him, boom. Again, Otis goes inside, stay there, don't give it up, boom, there you go. And into the end zone. I mean, it's a great play. I mean, Adrian can give up the play, and if he gives up the play, then McKenzie's tackled, and you get no touchdown there. If you stay there and you make yourself an option, and now you got a 21-7 football game, and the sideline's fired up. So we go 3 drives, 3 touchdowns. They go 3 drives on our side of the field. They get a touchdown, stop on 4th down, missed field goal. So now you built yourself this 21-7 lead, and we're kicking off to them. And again, tone set, nice special teams play, great special teams play. Guys flying down and making tackles, and they start pinned back to their own 10-yard line. And again, Jasinski's in there. Jemias Pittman, part of that defensive front that is surging right there for UCF. Pat, such a leader in so many ways. It's a 3-man front right there. Jasinski finds a perfect gap, comes up, and again, you take a look. Pittman picks up the quarterback, takes away the whole play as far as options are for them. That's just great defense. We're in the second quarter of watching UCF in South Florida, and the ESPN broadcast. Adam Amin, the great broadcaster, was there that day calling that football game. Adam has kind of joined us and share some thoughts. It's 21-13 second quarter. We pick it up. What do you remember about the atmosphere of that football game, not knowing how it's going to develop and everything, but it's Black Friday, got 2 top 20 teams, and there's just a great vibe in that stadium.
It was awesome. Start to finish, it was one of the best atmospheres I can remember in a long, long time. And I just remember, we were really pumped just as a crew. We had done the Friday night games all year. And to this day, I've had great partners through the years that I've been good friends with. But that season, that 2017 season, will always be very special to me just because Molly and Dusty, Molly McGrath, our excellent reporter, whom I work with again this past year, and Dusty Dvorak, our analyst, they became 2 of my closest friends, and we just developed really good friendships from that we've maintained, and it was our first year kind of all together taking a step as a broadcast crew. So when we got assigned that Black Friday game, I had done that time slot before, and it is such a good time to be on for a good college football game. Like, it was the perfect time for UCF to have one of its best showings with one of its, best starts. Obviously, 10-0. I think 10-0, right? You guys had
yeah. They were 9-1. We were 10-0.
That's right. So we were so jacked up to be a part of that broadcast and a great time slot. It's a great crowd. It's just the right time of day on that Friday. Everybody's starting to come in and sit down in front of the TV. And no better time for Scott Frost to have the offense humming the way it was, for McKenzie Milton to be having the type of season that he was having, and then for us to be able to share a story like Shaquem Griffin's. Those are the things that really got us excited. Leaning towards the UCF side, obviously for USF, Quentin Flowers was a marquee name in Group of 5 football at that point. he and McKenzie were a great matchup that day. I loved. I think these were the top 2 offenses in the American. UCF was clearly in the top 10 in the country, most of the year that year. So we've assumed it would be a high octane game, and I think to have that type of game the way it did, and obviously we can talk about that as we get further, but just to have that all come together was like the perfect storm. It was a great crux for UCF for this really impressive group to get a lot of people's attention, and I'm glad it all transpired the way it did.
Yeah, let's get back to the highlights. So we pick up, it's 21-13 in the second quarter as the game continues. And, look, you've done a lot of college football. I felt one of the things that was interesting as we'll watch this drive is that if people tuned in and watched, they didn't go, well, these are 2 nice group of 5 teams. There was just talent on both sides of the field, right?
Yeah. In fact, we got one guys, Flowers, later. I guess it would have been the following year. I started doing Bears preseason games. He was on the Bengals roster first preseason game, and he was playing like a spot. And I've football since, but I remember distinctly his level of talent. The wide receiving group was really good for USF. They had a good offensive line that were a potential draft pick. They always had a really good middle linebacker. Augie Sanchez was the perfect example of that. So, obviously you guys know your own talent. We've seen the team feel obviously do what they've been doing, throughout. So the talent was high and very well matched. Like, this game was never out of question, out of it.
Yeah. So they scored, and again, if UCF led 21-7, South Florida comes back, and they're driving here toward the latter part of the first half, and again, Flowers had success throwing deep downfield throughout the day, and there's a 3rd down and 6. It's a 21-20 game, and again, Flowers is insane. You take a look, that day is well over 600 yards, and the 3rd down play.
And he did so much of this. I mean, he was so. I mean, I'm not saying he was leaving the pocket too soon. I just think Charlie Strong had given him carte blanche. Listen, I wanted you to throw, and he took a lot of downfield shots in that game.
Yeah.
But anytime he had a chance to go vertical, as soon as he saw an opening, he would go laterally and then just turn.
That's a big Hughes interception. Yeah.
And that was a phenomenal Mike Hughes play. But that was one of the few mistakes that Flowers made.
Yeah, it's a big catch, a big pick by Hughes at the end of the half. It stalls their momentum and leaves UCF with a 1-point lead, as we get set for the 3rd quarter. I mentioned before you came on, so the game has 33 drives total. The longest drive of the game was 4:31 by UCF. 15 of UCF's 17 drives were 2:55 or less.
Yeah.
It just shows you how fast the offenses were moving in this football game,
And a lot of key 3rd down stops too. Like, there were some quick drives, some 3 and outs as well. I remember this too, UCF. And these were 2 really good takeaways from South Florida and UCF. Were top 2 in the conference.
Yep. Jordan Aikens, big catch. Of course, Jordan went
He's
on.
Guy.
Yep. So we're in the second half, and McKenzie. I commented earlier. The thing about McKenzie, sees the field so well, but when they got into a rhythm offensively, it was just almost pitch and catch, because with so many weapons that he had, and you just appreciate how he saw the field, and Scott Frost's eyes became McKenzie's eyes, and that's the lone loss that South Florida had, but. Fine time.
How about Milton maneuvering and throwing?
Yeah.
But it's going to be ruled
Adrian Killens. Just a touch, I mean, the mechanics are, sidearm, fling it, whatever he's going to do there.
Man, I love Adrian Killens too, man.
Yeah. A guy that hopefully, yeah, I mean, a guy you hope that the NFL realizes his speed is worthy of a spot in the roster. This is just so many big plays that he had, and this little fling.
Forgive me, Mark. The quarterback coach, Mario
Verduzco.
I think we keyed in on him at some point. It might have been right around here because we had time during a review.
Yeah.
And just to bring up, his mechanics were so good. I know Dusty was talking about it here. To roll to his left and to really put the ball in a great spot. And by the way, great job by our crew. We had a really, really good crew that year too.
The call went our way, and the catch stood.
Yeah, they zoomed in on that.
There's space. Talk about Flowers. There's McKenzie, who's same deal. Just such a weapon running.
So explosive, but the guys. I feel like they were so well seasoned. McKenzie, for such a young player, was so well seasoned. But Quentin had so many rings. Like Quentin Flowers was, in Group of 5 football, a fairly, I would say, household name.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No question.
And USF had really good offensive players. Marlon Mack obviously sticks out. They had some Dearness Johnson, who was a key player in this game. They've produced some really good running backs.
Tyree McCann's caught 9 catches, 227, and I still think is like I believe he's 6'10", 350. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but he was just incredible.
That first touchdown of the game is one I'll never forget. When
dragged the defender.
I think 15 yards, it felt like, into the end zone. Incredible. And there were so many good plays like this. Temi Alaka had that great catch for USF. A couple of dimes by Milton to find, I think, 2 of his different receiving yards, like the touchdown in the fourth quarter to Smith, great throw.
Yep.
Both guys, I mean, there was so much that I can't believe this was the type of football game we got, and it only adds to the legend of this game. I think this has become, for me, one of the highlight moments in my career, just in terms of intensity and back and forth nature of the game.
Incomplete pass there. Well, but again, the game lived up to the hype, and I mean, it's one of those games that, I mean, and you're calling it a national TV. You feel a national audience building as that game goes along, right? I mean, you just know that there's a lot of people now that have tuned in from when the game started to now.
Oh, yeah. We're getting texts throughout the game. I remember we had our full broadcast open on ABC. The game in front of us was big. It was Miami-Pitt. And Miami was number 2 in the country. They were undefeated. There were only 4 teams that were unbeaten going into this week in college football. I want to say Clemson was one of them, obviously.
It was Alabama, Wisconsin, and UCF.
Alabama, Wisconsin, UCF, and then I want to say Miami was unbeaten.
Yeah, they lost to Pitt. Yeah.
So I think those are the only other teams. Once that happened, like UCF was the only unbeaten team in Florida. Once this game was starting to pick up some steam and some of the heat, a great play by we saw plays like this all year from Shaquem, but this is the play that defined him to me. That defined what type of person and player he is. But yeah, like we were saying, we had our full broadcast open. Miami goes down, so we got a good lead-in audience. And then as the game's intensity rises, I'm getting text. My phone's blowing up. Sean McDonough multiple times. And I know Mark, you'll appreciate that.
Yeah, sure.
But people were texting throughout going, you guys are killing it. What a crowd. We laid out a lot in this game just because your fans were so just vocal throughout at the right times in the game. They did it in unison. They did it in a great atmosphere. The music, the domination's bumping, and it's just a great thing to watch on TV. If I'm a 15-year-old college football fan in Florida, I'm going, man, where would I like to go? How about this place? I would love to go to like this.
It's one of those things as UCF was fighting for the playoff ranking respect, and you wonder if the game's played 3 weeks earlier, does that help as far as the respect of they're good, they're better, but it's almost like no, it was the perfect timing for this game, the last game of the year they had to win to get to the conference championship game. It's almost like, oh, these are who these guys are. Wow, I guess they're pretty good. And, maybe too late for the playoff committee, but I think it was the perfect time because, Black Friday and all that stuff.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Not to say that the game wouldn't have had the same value for you guys on the field, but I think just a lot of the peripheral stuff, just the perception of what UCF was and has continued to be through these years. USF with a little bit of a down year the following season kind of lost a little bit of the momentum. So, they're in a little bit of a new era right now as well. But I feel like UCF took full advantage of not only a game like this at a time like this, but then they had the great performance in a phenomenal back and forth championship game, and then do what they did in was it Peach Bowl that year?
Yeah.
Peach Bowl Auburn that year. To do that as well, to carry it into that and put it all together. That momentum has, I think, continued. Was that supposed?
And
like that was supposed to be a
right.
pass play.
McKenzie goes out and notice Anderson's tackle there. And again, you go back to the championship game. There was no consolation prize. If you don't win this game, you didn't win the East. You don't get to the conference game. And, it's the 8+ greatest quarters you can argue of UCF history. The 4 quarters here, the double overtime game against Memphis, just to get to, Atlanta. You go back and it's, we said the greatest 8+ quarters that you could ever play at UCF.
Yeah, it really did come down to. I don't feel like we were hyperbolic.
Yeah,
really that much.
He doesn't feel sorry for himself, and he doesn't want anyone else to feel sorry for him. And every time he takes the field, whether it's on the practice field or whether it's on the game field.
And this was also
I remember multiple times
games
looking
on
around
TV,
our crew.
He couldn't do it. He used that as energy, as motivation.
Yeah, again, we had games on TV, but this was also coming out for him too. Where people really said, "Wow, so this is who this guy is," and he performed.
I think this being in that moment as often as possible throughout the course of the night. I'm an excitable broadcaster, but I didn't think we were being hyperbolic because we felt like this game had significant value to UCF in it because of the audience, because of the stage, an ABC national game, the high stakes of this particular game, 9-1, 10-0, division title, etc., and then to have the level of points. Those are the types of games to hope for. Another big conversion.
Yeah, he's got pressure coming and finds Traquan Smith there.
Another NFL guy.
Patient. Trust your blocking, trust your receivers, as he did so well. And again, it was 21-7. They made it 21-20, and you can begin to feel the tension now going to 9 to play. Third quarter, Traquan again, just great career UCF. He's going to be great with the Saints. He's already proven how good he can be. And that
That's
guy,
a great throw.
Yeah.
It was that type of throw that we saw most of the night. Both guys made big throws like that all night.
Yeah. 23 yards there to Gable Davis. And again, Knight fans go back. That's a freshman. And then Gabe, of course, had 2 great years and opted to leave after this year where he put up just great numbers. And I know it's a deep draft, but someone's going to get lucky to get him because he became what Traquan Smith was. And I think some may say even a little bit more physical coming out. And that made it 28-20. It was a long drive. That was 3:48 that drive. That was the other drive that was about 3 minutes.
We replayed this. Our producer was Kim Belton.
Yeah.
And he had our crew put together this package going to break. The defense of Griffin, that play, we wanted to reward him for that play, get a shot of that. And this was the type of play that Flowers made all game. And he was not shot. Didn't take long for him to look at the field and go, I've got an alley, I'm running.
Yeah, it was backyard football almost, the way they were just able to answer.
Yeah.
So,
but this was a Sterling Gilbert offense, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. So this was his lone year. I want to say at USF, maybe it was 1 or 2 years. I can't remember. But they were just massive improvements offensively, and just like that, back scores.
Yeah.
they've got the lead. This is the type of game it was.
Yeah, and go back that year, we didn't trail much. I mean, we didn't trail, so you kind of wondered how UCF handles the pressure. I mean, we played a few close football games, held on, but here it is now with everything on the line. As great as your season was at 10-0, and you lose this, and it kind of goes out the window for you. So how do they handle now being down and on your side of the field, and McKenzie's got to go to work, and there you go.
We saw that a couple times. They busted out the Scott Frost option play. I think for a touchdown in the first half.
He did. He ran the option, pitched it out to Killens, who ran in for the score.
Right? Yeah. He really did run this very effectively. And that was the question that I forgot about. I didn't notice it right away.
McCray holds on his back. Yeah.
And then on the replays when I really saw it, I just started laughing.
Yeah. Another freshman at the time, too, that's had a couple of really good back-to-back years.
But he's shy of the sticks on the hit by
Right, so it's late third, down 6, and what do you want to do on fourth down?
Look at that slate, by the way, for Saturday. Yeah. There were so many big games that weekend. I love that all these games had some significant stakes. Although I love when rivalry weekend, when Thanksgiving weekend has just a lot of huge stakes at it. It's one of the best weekends.
That's why I think the league and the schools like the Friday slot. It kind of leaves you a little bit more not as crowded Saturday that's out there and stuff. So.
But go to Tallahassee. It's been a
kind of ran through it. Kind of gave a
wow. Look at that.
Florida update. FAU. That was a great year for Lane.
They're going to be playing in the Conference USA Championship game. What a top seed.
Yeah, that's right. They played the USA title game that year too.
And of course, Miami entered the day.
Miami down, or Miami coming off a loss. We had to delete Miami off that because we had put Miami in as an undefeated team, because you make those videos, those little Florida things. You usually come up with those like on a Monday or a Tuesday.
Right.
You have a decided time, and that our crew's so sharp, very global perspective. We make those on like a Tuesday for a Friday game, and you only have time to like come up with these ideas and execute them. You have certain time slots at the office and during these edit times they call them. So we had Miami like locked in at, I think 12-0 or 11-0 at that time. Not expecting to upset Miami. So
right. They're still in good right there.
Editing that out, but
that's crazy.
That. And we showed the Miami score. A lot of deep drops for that offense.
Yeah, again, both quarterbacks, man, just do so well in tight coverage throughout that game.
Great pass.
That's into double coverage. McCants was everywhere, man. He was going down the sideline. He was going over the middle. He is a
linebacker
dude.
body. The dude made 9 catches, 227. I mean, he's a
massive dude.
It's late third. They got the ball up 6. And I remember thinking, boy, if they score here, what's the pressure going to be like on UCF? We got to get a stop here.
Oh, that and this was one he I remember this. He knew it was his ball.
Yeah. Another big guy again that they had in a mismatch off a linebacker that we didn't pick up.
And he knows that he just missed his tight end.
Well, their tight ends do a really solid job.
Man, that was I don't know. That's probably a walking touchdown if he connects on that pass. And I don't know. I still feel like there were so many possessions in this game. I wouldn't have counted anybody out. So especially late third quarter, with a full quarter to go. I understand what you're saying though. You got to think that pressure will finally get into UCF. I'm very confident with this much time. I would have been very impressed with USF's defense had they been able to shut it down if USF went up 14. Still felt so confident in these two offenses. They were both so efficient.
Yeah, again, you're just kind of nervous. Like, again, the way the season's gone, you're down 2 scores, what would happen. But, it made big defensive opportunities. And, Flowers are just in such a rhythm. You're like, he could do so much on one play.
Yeah.
Big third down here.
That crowd never stopped. It was so fun to lay out for that.
There he goes. And the late hit afterwards.
Yeah.
Holding offense number 11.
Is it for a hold though?
Yeah.
Winner heads to the American Conference Championship.
That's big. Because again, I mean, it would have given a first down extended drive.
Yeah.
So, fourth quarter now. One of the great quarters college football's had in a while.
No doubt, man. We're very, very thankful to be there. We didn't have to say much on third down. So good, so much. We just laid out.
Brzezinski chasing.
Sends the
This
play.
is a really good call on third down there. On Flowers, 4-man twist.
Trying to lead a
Up
go-ahead
the really good. Was that I think Eric Schindler, right? Was your guys' coordinator? I mean, he had some. Both the DCs had some key calls on third down. You know, like I said, both teams had big third down. Good calls on third down a lot of the time.
Yeah, so this drive starts at the 10. This ends up being the longest drive of the game. This is the one that goes 4.5 minutes. And again, you're pinned back. You could end up having a punt, give the ball back to them, and so this is second down, but football's the 6 here.
Who's on the edge at the top of the formation? Milton has the first down.
Yeah.
What a play.
Says, I see you, Quentin Flowers. I can make it happen with the legs.
Yeah, we were comparing the two, man.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
It was turning into one of those like back and forth, you know, punch for punch, you know, drive for drive type things. These Flowers and Milton. I mean, the yardage, and this is and again, UCF's still in the 300s in total yardage at this point.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we still got 13 and a half minutes to go, and they're going to score another 20 points, you know. 20 points.
Exactly.
Bruce Hector, the big defensive lineman. Down the line of
Yeah,
scrimmage,
McKenzie runs here, and then again the depth of talent that we had, because he's going to throw a pass to the freshman here. Marlon Williams is going to come back as, you know, UCF's probably biggest receiver next year, but Anderson's a freshman. McCray, who had the ball in his back, was a freshman. Gabriel Davis is a freshman. He's going to throw here to Marlon Williams. And Frost wasn't afraid to play guys. I mean, he recruited a class to play quickly in second year, and he had a bunch of those guys out there.
Underneath to Marlon Williams.
Yep.
And Williams has the first
Lot
down.
of contribution.
Another true
Lot
of
guys you could run.
Yeah, and McKenzie was so good with empty backfields and stuff, just seeing the field and things like that.
2 years ago.
Yeah, we wanted Bama.
I am almost positive that shot was from earlier in the game. And
it looks like it's lighter, yeah. It looks like it's lighter, yeah.
It looks like it's lighter. Our crew was very sneaky like that. And by the way, I don't mean that in a bad way.
No.
It's like we had a very creative crew.
And I'm impressed that you recognize and remember. So.
Yeah, no, we had a great year that year. We had seen Memphis earlier in the year too. I was just that was a really good offensive team. I'm trying to remember though, who was taking the majority of the reps to QB that year?
For Memphis?
They were split in QBs.
Roddy Ferguson.
Or was that? Oh yeah, that's right. It was a Riley Ferguson. That's right.
Yeah. How about that?
Great footwork.
But intercepted.
Yeah.
But a flag. Coming back.
But because I don't remember this interception for whatever reason.
Well, it's coming back for flag.
Defense.
Yeah, it was a defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the footwork by McKenzie. Outstanding.
Still, he's got to be smarter with the football.
But again, this is huge because otherwise, I mean, the drive could end here.
What's that?
The flag extends it.
The ball down the field to make a play. Fortunately,
Yeah, that was a break. It was definitely a break. But again, not a lot of mistakes between those two. We just said it. We're not a guy who makes a lot of mistakes or forces a lot of bad passes. It's a very rare sight, but there were, considering the amount of shots that they took, the amount of footwork that they had to use, how much they danced around it, how much they threw on the run. There weren't that many mistakes considering the volume of passes that we saw and the volume of chances that we saw for both teams.
Yeah, Killings runs for 13 here. Again, goes right, he goes left, and
allows for the big game.
Big play. Option.
Fake pitch there. Picks up 2.
And again, it's 34-28. We still got a lot of points to score here.
Long way to go.
Because there's multiple options on about 95%.
But it's one of those games, and you've done these games on TV where you're looking, wow, 350, and it's like somebody's up by 4 touchdowns. It's like people had no problem if this game was going long,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That feels like a norm sometimes, considering some of the offenses that we've seen the last couple of years. I do think it's cyclical. I think it'll slow down a little bit at some point, and then kind of, everybody will find a way to counteract at some point.
Like I said earlier, though, in this pass-heavy world now, fans, I think, are slowly coming around to understanding your defense could give up 30 points and 450 yards and have a good day because your offense is scoring quickly, and you're up by 4 or 5 touchdowns at some point.
Yeah, I think the other part of that, though, you do have to have a defense that can make you enough stops. And I think that same defense probably needs to do something in a championship caliber season. Probably needs to do enough to win you probably 2 or 3 games.
Right.
When the offense doesn't sputter, this was actually one of the more. This is probably as consistent of an as college football saw that year at UCF, but. For those moments where you need a big play, it's still necessary to prove to that, and there's still enough value there to where there's going to be I feel like that counterbalance will come at some point. You'll slow down a little bit, I would guess.
Yeah. That's a stop with 4th down. We went for it. They get the football back, and again, you got 10 to go, and now there's more pressure on UCF defense. You can't now fall behind by 2 scores, and they're going to force a quick punt here, which is huge as the clock goes under 10.
And again, you guys leaned on a lot of takeaways that year. By sheer volume of possession, you're going to give up some points. That's the type of league it was that year, and frankly, the American the last 5 years, the top half of the league, often had 2 or 3 teams in the top 15 one offense in all college football. That's how the league has been. So I'm not shocked that I'm not shocked to see UCF's defense give up a lot of points.
Right.
But to get the stop when they needed them, to get takeaways is something they did by the volume of that all year.
Right. And then 17 and 18, I think the numbers we were plus 34. So you're forcing turnovers, and you're forcing teams to throw them off, behind. But the defense did lead the country in turnovers those 2 years combined, and good pressure there on Flowers, and Shaquan Burkett makes a big sack right there, forcing the punt.
Yep.
We got 8.5 to go, and they're going to punt, and the scoring's going to pick up here.
We talked about keeping Quentin Flowers.
The guy ended up playing 53 games.
Yeah.
With UCF. Incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
Milton.
Can.
Great strike.
Michael Kalubiali, the redshirt senior, with a 27-yard catch.
We joke he was a 15-year player at UCF. No one got more extra years.
One of those guys you're like.
Kalubiali, picks up 27 there.
Open, and Mackenzie Milton puts it on the money.
But you talk about
-3 fourth quarter yards at this point.
Yeah.
Here.
This is going to lead to a big third down. You talk about making a big third down play. He's going to get back-to-back incompletions here before he gets a big play. And you're about midway fourth quarter. Both those guys, both those guys were good quarterbacks only when you had to throw the ball away, too. I mean, sometimes you live to keep the possession. And I think Flowers and McKenzie in this game a couple times knew when to do that.
2nd and 10. Blitz. Milton. Incomplete. Looking for Traquan Smith.
There's third downs and
third down.
Let Knight fans watch because there's a big play coming up here. But there's some.
So Miami lost today. Alabama lost the next day to Auburn.
Right.
So that weekend, UCF and Wisconsin were the only 2 unbeaten teams.
Yep.
Wow.
Here's a big touchdown play here.
And Dorn's big.
Yep.
Oh, wide open, Snellson.
Touchdown, tie game.
Yeah, Snelson's second touchdown. He got behind and got open, and there you go.
That was one of my favorite moments of the game. I felt really happy how we called it and how we covered it. I was really happy. And I love
now
this.
You're jacked up, man, right?
Well, this too, the camera. This is when you know it's a big game. They gave us a sky cam for that game.
Yeah.
So anytime you get that spider cam, and you can actually see it in that shot right there. Anytime you have that spider cam that's moving around and weaving around, that's when you know it's a big game for the rest of us. Like there's only a couple of crews that get that game. They have extra one that goes floats around the different broadcasts, and we got it on this one because it was such a big game.
Fight we were hoping for. Milton with a punch.
We got a 1-point lead midway to go.
And now Quentin Flowers.
And Flowers is like, all right, let's go. Just give me the ball back.
Here in Orlando, we are seeing tonight.
And this was about that time because when the game kicked off, this is right about now. It's about 6:30, 6:40 at night, and you know that the nation now is kind of falling in love with this game.
Right here.
Yeah.
UCF's, and I know
great.
Eric obviously is responsible for this, among others, but anytime I always get that tweet pop up, once a year, once every 6 months or whatever, that'll have the quote and this little clip and that crowd was just at a fever pitch. Like you said, Mark, this is about the time where it looked great. It looked awesome on TV. The lights were going on. People were starting to really tune in, going, "Hey, what's this game? Oh, 7.5 to go. There's not much left." When in actuality, we still had 5.4% to go in this game.
Right.
False start. Offense.
Yeah. So they get the ball here, and this is kind of a big stop, we think. Flag on them, but both teams, by the way, 84 plays. 84 plays in this game.
Confusion, no safety over the top.
And just under 1,200 yards. And as you can see, breakdown.
Milton finds his guy and puts his team on top.
Flowers. Down he goes. Titus Davis with the tackle for loss.
Titus Davis. There. I mean, that was the key. If you can keep in the pocket, that was big. Keep in the pocket.
Yeah, you couldn't let him get
outside.
Shoulders. You couldn't let him get his shoulders square again to the line of scrimmage because then he was going to take off. Usually that.
So what goes on? I mean, you got a close game like this, and obviously you're calling the game. How much are they talking to you about? Hey, we got a lot of crowd reaction. I mean, I know every game's different, but how has that become part of this broadcast too?
No, that's my preference. Nobody ever has to tell me a way out.
Right.
Our producer was never. He was very comfortable with us. Dusty is very much like me. We don't want to get in the way of the game. We just want to accentuate the game. When you have a great crowd like this, you know, this is what you live for. You live for the nights where you don't have to pay a whole lot. You just get to get excited for the proper moment because the crowd is that good. So our producer, our director, nobody ever had to talk to us about it. We were very aware. Same thing with Marc. He didn't want to screw. He had a lot more stuff. Is this the Darnell Solomon catch? Yeah.
Is it a catch?
Yeah.
It is.
This was one of the 3 biggest plays of the game that had what feels like a dozen big plays. This is one of the 3 important plays of the game.
3rd and 15. That's Hughes in the coverage. Great catch.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
On 3rd and 18.
Yeah, it was confirmed, not even stood. Confirmed. And then Solomon had an even bigger play late in the game.
Yep.
He's accounted for more yards than UCF has.
Not the touchdown that tied the game, but the touchdown that got him within 2.
Right.
And then, you know, they eventually tied the game up at the
The big play, it keeps the drive, and you see we got just 6 to go in the game at this point. And you saw the numbers before. They're about to go over 500 yards, and UCF is about 500. There's still a lot more yards to go.
There's another NFL receiver.
Yep.
Valdez.
Good one.
Down coming up for South Florida as we duck inside.
I had a lot of actually Marquez's games at NC.
Yeah.
He was really good.
You don't want to get too many guys to one side and open up the rush lanes for Quentin Flowers.
Pass the sticks.
They're down. You know, good pass. Needed 5, got 6.
First down again for South Florida.
Timing route. Flowers, Scantling on the same page. Excellent throw.
Great job.
And Scantling keeps the ball after a big hit.
Flowers keeps this time. A short gain brought down by Tristan Hill.
Yeah, he throws for 503. He ran for 102 yards also in the game.
Incredible. Incredible. This is, I mean, yep. Local time.
Yep.
So they tell us, hey, top of the hour reset.
Yeah.
So we'll try to update people at the top of the hour.
Solomon. There should have been a holding penalty or something there because Neville Clark grabbed the jersey of Solomon going downfield.
Had to be defensive hold.
Yeah, I think you guys got away with one here. It's a little bit of a break. I'm not sure. Again, not sure what happened directly after this. I think you guys get the stop.
He got a handful of jersey.
Yeah, we did a poor job of showing this.
Grabs his arm. Deep pass interference, holding, whatever you want to call it.
Looks clean to me. It's clean all
we called it like we saw it at the moment.
That's right. Look clean to me.
Yeah. 3rd down and 7.
Neville's the guy who was at the combine. Hopefully he gets a chance to play next level. Yeah, big 3rd down here. Jasinski. Yeah, Pat did a great job on the rush there. Forced him to get rid of it downfield.
UCF just want to work this 4-minute offense.
So they're punting. And this is kind of where things get really fun now.
That was one.
That was crazy.
Not as cleanly executed of an offensive play that time, but
with UCF in front right now. Big first down for Mackenzie Milton.
I mean, it wasn't a case of let's just kind of grind it out. You didn't want to be too quick, but the offense just isn't used to just kind of we'll just try to run out the middle. I mean, it was you're up 1, but you got to still execute here.
Picks up enough to move the chains.
Yeah, there wasn't. It didn't really feel like there was a lot of 4-minute opportunities for UCF that year, and they're not built as a 4-minute offense. They're built as a big play offense. Not to say they can't execute or didn't execute that year. Just the MO of this offense was that they were so explosive, and you didn't want to hold them back. and points were clearly at a premium. And this is still an attack mode team, and they're attacking down the field.
But I think also the thought process here was 3 means you can lose in a touchdown. So if you just get a field goal of 38-34 and, you know, let's see what we can do. I mean, can we take time off the clock? There was that thought of, you know, 3 doesn't protect us.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just feel like this wasn't an offense that was – they wanted to be aggressive. They wanted to get points. They wanted to try to give or put as much cushion as possible in between them and their opposition. And it was to their strength, you know, that you had to – this was a team you had to guard for 60 minutes. You know, like, this is a team you had to, you were going to have to play at 80 plays. It was going to be 80 plays a night of defense that you had to be out there.
UCF hasn't played a ton of tight games this year. Only one game has been.
He was right. We didn't play a ton of tight games. So.
Earlier this season, that was against SMU.
To put themselves in position to ice this game.
Still 3 minutes to play.
Once in a while, our preparation pays off. Great blitz there.
Great catch.
Otis Anderson.
Great
play all around. I think Dusty pointed it out.
Anderson with an excellent block.
Yeah, Otis Anderson with the blitz pick up there.
To throw a dime down the field.
We got one more play before your call of the perfect play. So again, we're up 1 under 3 to go.
Yeah, we didn't show the replay of this because the offense was still moving up the line so fast. We didn't want to risk showing the replay. Obviously, there's time here, but in hindsight, we don't know that.
He had 6 of the final 7 possessions, touches, and he has the touchdown to put him up 10.
Another throw to Smith, and he could not hold on.
Yeah, I think this is the Otis Anderson moment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And again, it's a freshman at the time that's out there, true freshman.
He was a high priority in UCF.
The way you ended up, it worked out great. You ended up telling the story about him.
That Otis Anderson really wanted to pursue, but he was highly sought after by a lot of major programs.
Great play here.
Scott Frost got a very key cog for this offense in Otis Anderson. Big blitz from the Bulls. It's a screen against the blitz. The perfect play. Otis Anderson may have seen.
Yeah, it's the block by Traquan Smith and the fact that he gets out of the defenders in the way there.
Man, Milton was pumped up. Quentin Flowers just like, I have to do it again.
Right.
He did everything in his power in this game to keep USF in it, and there was no stopping this off. Yeah, blown away by their efficiency. And great play calling. Troy Walters was. Am I thinking of the right guy here?
What's that? Say it again.
Troy Walters was the
Yeah.
Troy Walters is great game planning, great play call throughout.
And Matthew Wright nails it.
Now you just need a defensive stop. That's all you got to get, right?
Yeah, that's all you need. And 221.
It's a great play, though. Because he almost gets caught in traffic, Otis. Gets through. Then the block.
You see the speed in the open field as the true freshman comes up with a huge play to put UCF up by 8. Don't forget, though, if you're South Florida, that's exactly what you wanted to happen. 2:21 left on the clock, 2 timeouts to play, and a big-time senior quarterback.
Yeah, for USF, getting the stop was the biggest thing, but it's like, listen, you still need time.
Yeah.
You still have the time that you want.
Right.
God, this is great. What a shot.
They've left the door open for Quentin Flowers and the USF offense.
Yeah, so he gets the return. You're like, all right, well, you know.
Was that De'Aaron?
Yeah.
And now it's Quentin Flowers' turn. Still down 1.
I think there's 1 or 2 plays, and then it's the stop play. We thought Solomon had already made the biggest play of his career.
But they make the right move because it forces Jasinski, the linebacker, to come out and cover him. And I remember my color analyst, Gary Parrish, tapped me and he points down the field. I saw it. I'm like, that's not a good mismatch. I mean, that's not a good matchup.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't see him.
Coming up on Sports Center at 11 o'clock Eastern Time after Virginia Tech and Virginia number 2.
What was on Sports Center?
Down. How does that impact the college football playoff picture? Plus, before the Iron Bowl, Marty Smith goes one-on-one with Nick Saban. And a report from Cleveland as Derrick Rose has to reevaluate his future in basketball. It's all coming up on Sports.
He had a good playoff.
Yep, see Jasinski's late coming out. Who do I got? Who do I got?
Yep. You see the linebacker scrambling a little bit. Yep. No shot. No shot. No shot.
Yep, he got caught confused, so I get the slot guy, what am I doing, and boom.
There's a discussion going on down the field between linebacker Pat Jasinski and Trey Neal. Clearly a blown coverage.
And give him credit, the 2-point play was a good play, too.
Yeah, they had the flood to the right, and I think Johnson leaked out to the left. I mean, he was up.
500 passing yards for Quinton Flowers today to set a new South Florida record. And now the 2-point conversion to tie this game. A huge play. Here we go.
Yeah, USF wasn't completely out of it. They still had 2 timeouts.
Big part of the red zone offense.
Even if they didn't tie the game.
For South Florida.
Again, he does a great job backpedaling to buy the time. Yeah.
Great footwork both sides. Milton and
Everybody asks the question. The one thing they shouldn't do is kick to use.
What's that?
Everybody now is thinking the one thing they're not going to do, they're not going to kick it to Mike Hughes, are they? I mean, they can't possibly kick it to Mike Hughes, right?
You can't possibly do it. And I think I even said, very dangerous return, man. Mike
right.
Again,
works his way out. Rolls all the way right.
Because now offensively you're thinking, okay, we get the ball, we just got to get in field goal range, we got some time and everything, and all right, they scored, but we have time on the clock.
And you know, just at worst you get into field goal range. You don't have to march down the field by any means. You know, you're in great shape. You know, and 2 timeouts.
Nobody to account for him.
Listen, I understand this person's reaction. Like, very nervous. You know, the UCF was it. This was one of those games where it's like whoever's got the ball last.
Yep.
You know, that would happen. This is a great graphic.
Yeah. Look at that.
As much total offense. I know it's that's actually a little hard to believe that he had as much offense as UCF. I mean, that was more of a show of the percentage of all.
There you go.
With a head of steam. And Mike Hughes, the
wow.
to beat. Do you believe it? Knights take the lead on a Hughes touchdown.
Wow. Still looks great. It's an amazing technical return. When you take a look at his cutting, it's a great return.
Oh, yeah. He picked all the right turns to make. We had that great Skycam replay. I think they show that maybe after the point. It's like he picked the exact right points to turn. Go.
But I remember the kick return, you going crazy in the booth, you know, we are. And then you're like, wait a minute, there's still 128 to go. He's going to get the ball back.
With his 3rd return for a touchdown this year.
Excellent blocking.
Great camera angle here for the cut.
He gets an
alley. Turns here, great move. One cut, and then he's just going to outrun Nadelman.
A guy that arrived on campus.
There's that cam coming into play.
As a late JUCO transfer, has been impactful throughout this whole year with his great cornerback play and as a fantastic return man and he's now got his team up by a touchdown.
And now Quinton Flowers, after that incredible touchdown drive and the 2-point conversion, is thinking, I got to do this again, apparently.
He says, let's go. Let's do this. Wow.
What a
And
play
Hughes
by
has to
Mike
get back on the
Hughes.
field to play defense. So
Yeah.
And UCF, trying to stay unbeaten, takes the lead on the 95-yard return.
there's that great shot again.
Yep. No, I'm glad we retold that story about what Hughes, the late Newport transfer, August 18th was the first time he stepped foot on that year, and what an incredible year.
That's a great return. They get the ball
Great
to 44 here.
Oh yeah, Johnson had some big returns all night. He gives him great field position. Still 2 timeouts. Man, I'm like repeating exactly what. Sorry, it's weird when I say what I say here, and it ends up being repeated back to me 2.5 years later. It's weird, but I guess this is the mode. Mark, you understand this mode for us too. Like you get into that mode, and you're just like, what do I know? What's the information that we need to disseminate? It's this is a great time to do this particular job.
So they're near midfield. They got 1:20 to go. They got plenty of options offensively.
Yep.
Good coverage downfield. He's dancing around. Miles Pittman, that's a big play there.
Still 2 timeouts for the Bulls.
They're content with letting the clock run.
Yeah.
They're like, no rush. They have a lot of trust in the offense.
Flowers, incomplete. Looking for
That brings up a
good coverage by Neville Clark.
big third down play here.
Neville Clark blanketing.
Yeah, I think this is the one that's
Nice pass breakup. Will UCF bring pressure? See a lot of pressure by Eric Shenander, the defensive coordinator of Central Florida, here in the second half to try to disrupt Quinton Flowers on 3rd and long situations.
Yeah, only rush 3 with a spy.
Rand hits it, Paquette recovers.
UCF has it with 39 seconds to go.
Yeah.
Burkett and Shaquille, man. All over
Big.
the place. My heart broke for Mitchell Wilcox there. Absolutely broke for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, if he holds on, they got first down and time left, but the freshman, Richie Grant, that hit it. And
Yep.
great story, and Stephon Brigetta recovers, and yeah.
A gut-wrenching moment for Mitchell Wilcox.
Well, Mitchell Wilcox picks up the first down and
Punches
Richie
it out,
Grant
great play.
Great.
punches the ball out. And how about the man who jumps on it? Shaquem Griffin. Fantastic job.
I actually feel like
Richie
Burkett
Grant
may have ended up
reminded me of the
securing
He
it.
did.
but
Yeah, he did.
Peanut Tillman
On it
used to
for
do
like
that
a
all the
split
time in
second.
practice. It punches it out.
And
And Shaquem Griffin
2 more times. Yeah, at this
senior,
point, it's over.
with an
2
amazing
timeouts if
story,
they want to use it, I
who's
guess.
fought through so much, comes up with the key recovery to solidify this win.
Yeah, and you just know that I mean, it's one of those games that you're just going to remember. I mean, obviously, it's personal to us here, but for you, as you said, it's just one of those that you'll remember because it was just so dramatic down the stretch.
Yeah, and
Program that just began play in 1979.
we felt appropriate to kind of give like the program
status in 1996. A program that 2 years ago suffered through an old
And again, we got to come back the next week to get Memphis.
I know.
And, you know, all the stuff that's going on around with coaches and things like that. I mean, this was a great emotional high, but I mean, here comes this Memphis machine offensively coming in 8 days later.
Yeah.
And potentially en route to the New Year's Six.
Yeah, we were already kind of projecting ahead for this team just because, they were unbeaten, too. It's not just – wasn't a lack of respect for Memphis or anything like that. It was just – this is a
We've seen that
not
play out here
like
this
a little bit of a juggernaut
when
that
the
year, as
defense wasn't
they
able
proved to
to
be.
pick it
You know,
up, the
they proved to
offense
be
showed
a
up. When the offense was
force
at
that
times
was very
struggling, the
difficult to slow
defense
down,
picked it up.
regardless of
A true team
level
win,
of opponent
capped
or
off
talent level on the other
by
side.
a huge special teams
And then,
return.
to have this
Another
type of
defensive
turnaround, I think we
takeaway.
show the ground. Yeah.
UCF, the
Incredible.
first team in FBS history to go from winless to unbeaten in the regular season.
Awesome game, and obviously for UCF fans, one of the great games. So, hey man, I want to thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. I know we all got some time, but I really appreciate you giving us your time to go do this. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was great to relive with you guys, man. I appreciate you extending the offer, and it was great. A night that I won't forget. You know, a lot of us on that crew that night will always remember that as one of the best games we've covered for a lot of reasons, and I'm glad we were there to see it through. It was a blast.
No Knight fan will ever forget the incredible War-On-I4 of 2017 as UCF beat South Florida. The Knights would come back 8 days later for the dramatic game against Memphis and beat the Tigers to claim the American championship and, of course, complete the undefeated season by going to the Peach Bowl and knocking off Auburn in our national championship. I want to thank Adam Amin for joining us and being part of this great look back. I'm Marc Daniels. Thanks, Knight fans, for joining us in this playback of the UCF South Florida football game from 2017, the War on I-4. Go Knights! Charge on.